Full screen.
What up, New Gaming Order? This is Alex Lexus, hitting you with the head crush for January 15th, 2015. Shout out to some of these people in my personal life, my motorcycle riders, and to one of my good friends who's moving out of New Jersey. I wish you well, man. Godspeed. And I'm going to have to take some trips down to Florida to visit you, my friend. But with that out the way, I just wanted to make some announcements. Tomorrow, we have some very good topics in the pipeline. And at the end of every podcast, for every new subscriber, I'm going to start giving you a shout out and putting your names actually in the podcast production. So stay tuned for that, because after seeing how many people Full Screen hooked this up with, I had to start from, I guess, Saturday and on, because it's just too many names. But I'll kind of do some rollback too to see how many people we can get. So my goal is to get to at least 1,800 subs soon. So tell your friends about us. If you would like to be a guest on our show, hit me up, inbox me here on YouTube. All right. So topic for Lunchtime TV. I am responding, and I took notes. See my notes, my chicken scratch over here. I'm responding to Snoop Dogg taking to Twitter or Instagram, blasting the Xbox Live service. Now, I will agree with him that Xbox Live hasn't been as stable as it was with the original Xbox and the 360. I know that Microsoft, once the Xbox One started coming into its own, they started trying to experiment and add extra servers and things like that. Now, me and Shinwar had noticed that, yeah, they're trying to expand, so it still doesn't make it right. We're paying for this. It should be, you should get on me and Gokin, my cousin, go back and forth. It's like expectation for it to work, but it's still wrong. So if there's a couple of things. Microsoft had some issues, and they only started when the X1 launched, right? So with that being said, you got to also look at too, and I even rescinded some comments about some PSN folks where it's like, okay, it's not always the service. Maybe check your internet or check your setup. You know what I mean? But in this case, I believe that Snoop Dogg's response sounded completely out of touch in terms of, oh, Bill Gates, fix your stuff. Snoop Dogg, he hasn't been part of the company for some time now. He has nothing to do, like, he's a philanthropist right now. He's doing other things outside of Microsoft. And this has been for a while. So before you blast, you at least know what you're talking about first. Secondly, when you look at, if you compare Xbox Live to, well, I'm going to go to PlayStation, you're actually going to be downgrading. And I'm not the only YouTuber that put this out there. Microsoft has a better service. Yes, there's times that it's down, admittedly so. And like I said, if we're paying for something, it should work at moment's notice. End of story. All right? But if you look at the track record, and I'll put a link to the video of the Red Dragon, of all the outages from 2015 June and on, there was just way too many, right? So I would just say, it's like you're going to be trading in a pair of Jordans for like last year's model type thing. I think that Snoop Dogg seemed very like frustrated. Yeah, you know, rightfully so. You're paying for it. It should work. But I think he was also misinformed. And if he wants to go to PSN, go ahead, go right ahead. Because what's gonna be funny is when they do have their outages. It's not if, when Sony has their outages. I want to know if he's going to do a similar video because it happens more frequently on PSN. So keep that in mind, Mr. Snoop Dogg. What's side? But it's just to say that Microsoft's network is shit. I think that's far-reaching, and the reason why, and this is going into history. Those of you who know that Microsoft took the infrastructure of Sega Net when we were playing, those of us who had the privilege of playing on the Dreamcast, they just took that and pretty much that was the ancestor to what we are playing on as far as Xbox Live is concerned. So for me, I had that sort of loyalty with that, you know. So Microsoft was working with Sega with Windows CE, the custom builds for the Dreamcast, and even far-reaching to the Saturn. So it's almost as if like Microsoft was working with them, with Sega, and then all of a sudden when Sega started effing up, it was like, hey, it's time for us to break out, or we take the lead, or we replace them, right? So, yeah, it was the Xbox Live service was rock solid. The original Xbox to 360, yes. So Snoop Dogg, I'm not saying you're not right. I just think that when certain things that were said, it's like, okay, go ahead, cancel the Xbox Live, go to PlayStation and see what happens. You know, Stone Fox Media made some interesting points as well. You guys check out that video where, you know, you're just going to be downgrading. But it's somebody's preference. If you're not, I would like to revisit this on the podcast tomorrow. We're going to be airing on Saturday at roughly 11 a.m. But it's just, be more informed about it. You know what I mean? No excuse to Microsoft. For Microsoft, because the shit should work. When you compare PSN to Xbox Live, Live is usually solid, you know, in terms of percentage. So I just wanted to put that out. I actually tweeted Snoop Dogg and put the Red Dragons video on there. So hopefully he'll be enlightened as to, oh man, you know, he just shot from the hip. So with that being said, I just had to say my piece. But it's interesting because he was really like about his game. He was about his game. He couldn't get on and all. Okay. At least we know he's a gamer, but somewhat misinformed as well. So it is what it is. Let me know if you guys think. I thought it was funny. I felt that it deserved my attention, and I'll put I'll put the links to the other two YouTubers who spoke about this as well, so that you can see it from their perspective. I have a different point of view in there, but this is just a completely straight response. But I would just say, be careful with switching over to PSN, because my PSN just ran out, and it ran out during the outage, the most recent outage. And I'm like, why am I gonna go and buy another card? You know what I mean? But in other news, Sony did credit for the 12 hours that PSN was down. They, I think, gave you double the time, so you get an extra day. I will say this about Sony: when their outages, extensive outage that's not planned, they are usually the best at. Actually, I don't really see. Well, Microsoft's never been down that much to the extent of Sony, but Sony, I guess, in recognizing this, always makes sure that they credit the time. You know, that time I remember I was in Iraq, where PSN was down for a minute, and I saw that Sony made so much effort and tried to take care of the customers on the service. So credit to Sony for that, you know. So but I don't think that they have a choice, because when it does go down like that, and it's like when they go down, not like a $2 hole in the corner, but what? No, I'm just saying. But they have to compensate. So with that being said, credit to Sony there, but Snoop Dogg, before you shoot at the hip, go online or just simply Google because it just sounded like you didn't know what you were talking about. Like, oh yeah, fix your shit, Bill Gates. Bill Gates hasn't been with the company and all that. So this has been Alex Lexus coming at you with the Juggernaut Punch. And I will see you guys next time on Lunchtime TV with the New Gaming Order. Peace.